and not stressed. Actually, this situation, in a certain way, in many ways, is very stressful for everyone because of the radical changes in our, as we say, lifestyle. So many restrictions, and of course it can be economically stressful. I hope that you are not experiencing economic stress. In so many ways it can be stressful, but it could also be an anti-stress situation. That, okay, I'm not supposed to go out, all right, so I'm staying where I am, and let me just be peaceful. It could be also an opportunity to reflect on the idea of inner satisfaction. Krishna is speaking so much to Arjuna on this subject in Bhagavad Gita, especially, for example, in chapter 6. Let's see if we can find a verse where he talks about this. Yeah, Tritatma. Jnana Vijnana Tritatma. Kutasto Vijitam Viha Yukta Iti Uchate Yogi Sama Amsana. Chitta Atma, satisfied self. In one sense, we could say that the more disturbed we are by the fact that we are locked down, more or less, some of us maybe more, some maybe less, but the extent that we're disturbed about that may be a measure of how far away we are from being what Krishna is inviting us to become Tritatma. Okay, so we can begin with our song, shall we? And what is our song? It's from Saranagati, and it's the first, let's see, it's the first section, the first principle of surrender, Dainya, or humility. It's interesting that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura begins his collection of songs with humility, Saranagati with humility, because it doesn't come first in the sort of original Sanskrit list, it comes toward the end. But when we go through his songs, we can understand why he is putting, I think we can see some reasons why he's putting this first. All right, here we go. I think this song can be sung in, what is it called? In there's different terms, but ektal, perhaps. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And we have perhaps what we like to call the morning melody for singing Gurvashtakam. So we can sing like this. Bhuliya tomare samsare āsiyā. Peye nānā-vidha byathā. Bhuliya tomare samsare āsiyā. Peye nānā-vidha byathā. Tomāra carane āsiyāchi bolibo khera kathā. Tomāra carane āsiyāchi bolibo khera kathā. jananī-snehete chilama jatam vishama bandhana-pāśe. jananī-snehete chilama jatam vishama bandhana-pāśe. eka-bāra prabhu eka-diya more manchile edina dase. eka-bāra prabhu eka-diya more manchile edina dase. Kakon bhavinu jñāna-lava bolibo bhajana-tava. Kakon bhavinu jñāna-lava bolibo bhajana-tava. Janama hoilo hori māyā-jāle na hoilo jñāna-lava. Janama hoilo hori māyā-jāle na hoilo jñāna-lava. Adarela chile sva-janera kule āsiyā kathā-nukala. Adarela chile sva-janera kule āsiyā kathā-nukala. Janaka jananī-snehete Bhuliya samsara lagilo bhalo. Janaka jananī-snehete Bhuliya samsara lagilo bhalo. Krame dina dina bālaka-hoya helino bālaka-saha. Krame dina dina bālaka-hoya helino bālaka-saha. Arakichudine jnana upajito hatha bodhi ahar-ahah. Arakichudine jnana upajito hatha bodhi ahar-ahah. Vidyara gora vedhami deshe deshe dhana uparjana kori. Vidyara gora vedhami deshe dhana uparjana kori. Sva-jana palana kori eka-mane bhulinu tomāre hari. Sva-jana palana kori eka-mane bhulinu tomāre hari. Bhardake ekhon Bhaktivinoda kandiya kathara ati. Nābhajiya thore dina vritta gelo ekhona ki habe gati. Nābhajiya thore dina vritta gelo ekhona ki habe gati. So this is a kind of autobiographical song, we might say. And it's also a song of lamentation. Bhuliya tomāre samsare āsiyā peye nānā-vidha byathā. O Lord, I forgot you and came to this material world where I have experienced a host of pains and sorrows. In English, the word host means a very large number. You're going to have an army host. Doesn't mean like someone who is a host in their home welcoming you. That's a different meaning of host. Host here means a huge number. Now I approach your lotus feet and submit my tale of woe. The word woe is a kind of old English word that means suffering and misery. And tale, of course, means story. So it starts out with the word bhuliya, having forgotten. Having forgotten what? Not what, but whom? Tomare. Samsara āsiyā. I've come to this world, and in Bengali language, also in Hindi, samsara has this meaning of just worlds, the material world. And of course, it implies the repetition of living and then dying and then being born again and suffering through one life after another. But it's also used in Bengali in a somewhat more neutral sense, as I understand. It's just the world. Hey, nānā-vidha byathā. Nānā-vidha. This is very Sanskritic Bengali. Nāna means various, and vidha means types, various types. Byathā, of trouble, of pain. Tomāre charane āsiyāchi. I'm approaching your lotus feet. Bolibo, I will now speak. So we all know the word haribol, which is actually hari bola, which is the imperative. Chant, bola. Chant what? Chant the name Hari. And it becomes haribolo with a short A, bolo. So bolibo is the first person future tense. I will speak, I will chant. Bolibo dukera kathā. I will speak my story. Kathā typically means story. What story? Dukker kathā, the story of misery. And that ending, dukker, is the possessive form of dukkha. So literally the misery's story, the story of misery. And now he's going to start with his tale of woe. And it starts in the womb. jananī-snehete, chilam jakon, vishama bandhana-pāśe. Bandhana means binding, and pāśe means rope, bound with ropes. So bound up tightly in the unbearable confines. I guess jatare means confines of my mother's womb, jananī. O Lord, you once revealed yourself before me. Ek-bāra, Prabhu, one time, O Lord, more, you revealed yourself to me. Vanchile e dina dase, hearing only briefly, you then abandoned this poor servant of yours. Dina with a long I means something like wretched. Means very poor, very wretched, very deep, very downtrodden, we can say also. So Bonchile, Bonchile, I guess here, I'm guessing, means abandoned. And then, so remember, he started out saying, Bhuliya, Tomare, I forgot you. And in this verse number 2, he says, you appeared to me, and then you disappeared. Takon bhavinu janamapaya koribo bhajanatava. At that moment, I thought, after my birth, I will worship you. So there's jakon, takon. We had in the previous verse, jakon, shilam, when I was in the womb. And now takon, then, at that time. So it's relative, correlative. Bhavinu, I thought, I had this bhava, I had this mood. Janamapaya, upon birth, upon being born, bolibo. You may see the same form. We have bolibo, was the future for to speak. I will speak. Now we have bolibo, I will do. What will I do? Bhajana. I will worship. And whose bhajana? Tava, yours. Now, he's used the word tomar and tava. Tava is also more Sanskritic Bengali. Tomar is more Bengali. And it's this familiar form. But we'll see a little surprise in the last verse in this regard. Just to mention, I find it interesting. I'm here in Hindi-speaking Nilachal Vedic village, and I'm constantly hearing the devotees chattering away. Unfortunately, they speak at such an incredible speed that there's no way I can really begin to follow them, but I catch words here and there. And I'm also trying to do a bit of Hindi reading while I'm here with help of dictionary and also sometimes one or another English-speaking devotee. But what I find interesting is that they, with each other, they always use the honorific form, a, instead of tum. So even though they're friends, everyone's kind of, you can say, equals, but always the term of preference is ap in Hindi, which is the more honorific form. And this is also true in Bengal. I've heard also in Mayapur. This is the same thing. But here, Bhaktivinoda is using the familiar form to speak with God. And this we find in other languages as well. I think in German, this idea is also to speak with some sense of intimacy. So, takon bhavinu janamapaya bolibo vajana tava. Janama hoilo. Hori māyā-jāle, na hoilo jñāna-lava. So now comes the bad news. I had good intentions. Takon bhavinu janamapaya bolibo vajana. I will worship you when I get out of this womb. But alas, after taking birth, what happens? I fell into the entangling network of worldly illusions. Māyā-jāle, jala. We sing Sharira Avidya Jala. Jala means a net or a network, like a fishing net. So podi, which has this little apostrophe you may see there, which represents English YA, so it would be bhuliya. Having fallen, the Jaran, having fallen, māyā-jāle, in the network of worldly illusions, janama hoilo, I became born. Hoilo is the past tense. What's the infinitive? Han, perhaps? Oh, no. So janama hoilo, I was born. Na hoilo jñāna-lava. Thus I possessed not even a drop of true knowledge. Whoever translated this translated lava as drop. Usually we think of lava in terms of, a fraction. Actually, in Sanskrit, it means, I think it means the 1/11th of a second in terms of time. So sadhu Sanga, sarva shastra koi, lava matra sarva siddhi. Lava matra sadhu sanga, sarva siddhi hoy. Lava matra. Matra means only. We just need 11th of a second of association, and sarva siddhi, all perfection, is available for us. Ādarer chele, sva-janera kole, āsiyā kathānu palo. As a dear son fondled in the laps of relatives, I pass my time smiling and laughing. The word kole means lap. We have the other song, Jeev Jago, Gora Chanda, Bole, Kota Nidra Jao Maya, Pishachira Kole, Pishachi Kola. You are lying or sitting in the lap of a pishachi, of a witch. And so wake up, you're in trouble conditions. So Jeev Jago. Āsiyā kathānu. Kal. I spent my time, I think kathānu means to pass. I have to see about that. Āsiyā, of course, means laughing, smiling. And chele means a child, a dear child. It can mean a servant also. Chela. The affection of my father and mother helped me to forget you still more. Janaka jananī-snehete bhuliyā. Bhuliya, again, having forgotten, and snehete, in affection. Whose affection? The affection of the mother and the father. Janaka, the father, jananī, the mother. Samsara lagilo bhalo. I began to think that the material world was a very nice place. Samsara lagilo. I considered, or it felt. How did it feel? Bhalo. Khub bhalo. Oh, very nice. Yeah. Dvaite badra gyan shab manodharma. E bhalo, e mando, e sabram. That's in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The duality of this world. Vaite. Badra, abhadra gyan. This mentality of auspicious, inauspicious. Shab manodharma. It's just, it's the dharma of the mind. Hey bhalo, hey manda, hey shabram. It's all a mistake. This hey bhalo, this is good. Hey manda, this is bad. Hey shabram, it's just it's all a big mistake. Krame dina dina, bālaka-hoya, kalinu bālaka-saha. Aratichudine jnana upajilo, atapodi ahar-ahah. So krame, krama means step. So in the stepping, dina dina or dina dina. Now here's a nice example of why we have to be careful when there's a vowel which is short or long. So before, let's see, verse number 2, we had Bonchile e dina dase. Dina, long I, meant poor or wretched servant. And now we have dina dina. Dina means day. So day after day, bālaka-hoya, having been a child, or being a child, helinu bālaka-saha. I played. The word khela is also a Sanskrit. It's originally a Sanskrit word. Khela, kheli, kheli parayana. And bālaka, again, means child. Saha, with. So together with other children, I played. Aro kichudinhe, and after a few days, means after some time, Gyan upajilo, my powers of understanding arose, they awakened, they came about. Hatha pori ahar-ahah. Ahar-ahah again means day by day. I think it's also more Sanskritic. And pori, hatha pori, reading and study. So Bhaktivinoda Thakura is, you can say, genuinely speaking about himself here. If we read his biography, see he was studying very diligently. He was reading a lot, not just in Bengali, but also in English. And he was also reading in Sanskrit. So day by day, I gradually grew into a young boy and began playing with other boys. Soon, my powers of understanding emerged, so I diligently read and studied my school lessons every day. Vidyar gaurave brahmi deshe deshe nānā-uparjana kori sva-jana pālana kori eka-mane bhulinu tomāre hari. Proud of my accomplished education, Gaurava means pride, vidya means knowledge, vidyāra, of knowledge, in the pride of knowledge. Brahmi, deshe deshe, again that apostrophe indicates it would be brahmiya, having wandered. And that's the same word I just mentioned, e balo e manda e shab brahm. That's the same word, B-H-R-A-M-A, brahmi, to wander or to be in a state of mistakenness or aimless. It's a kind of aimless wandering. This universe is called Brahmanda, a dark enclosed egg of wandering. Deshe deshe, from country to country, from place to place. Dhana uparjana kori, I made money. I I became productive through my knowledge. So he's suggesting here that he is gaining he's gaining wealth as a result of knowledge. And we hear about how Lord Chaitanya also, as a young man, at one time went to what is now Bangladesh, East Bengal, to apparently do some fundraising. And how did he fundraise? He would teach and probably also hold, making debates, arguing in debates, and apparently winning arguments. And there would be some sort of tradition of you would give donations to that person. So Brahmi deshe deshe danuparjana kori, sva-jana palana kori eka-mane bulinu tomāre hari. Sva-jana, my own people, my family, palana, protecting, literally, but it comes to mean maintaining. Kori eka-mane, I was doing this with in one mind. And what was the result? Bulinu tomāre, I forgot you, O Hari. I was forgetting. And the final verse, Bardake akon Bhaktivinoda kandya atara ati na vajya tore dina brita galo akon ki have gati. It ends with a kind of rhetorical question. Bardake akon. Now we had the word jakon and takon at some time, at that time. Now we have akon, now, at this time, akon. Ekoni means right now, just now. Bardake, now, in my old age, in Sanskrit that would be a V, Vardake. Bhaktivinoda Kandya is crying. Atara ati. How much is he crying? Ati. So much. Deeply crying. Kathā, I don't know this word kathā. Na bhajya tore. Having not worshipped you, I said I was going to worship you. Bolibo bhajana tava. And now it's na bhajya tore. And the word tore is a third, it's the lowest category of the pronoun, the second person pronoun of addressing a person. And it's usually used when addressing a child or an animal, or if you want to insult someone, then you use this form. But here, it's also used as the most intimate level. So, na bhajya tore, I did not worship you. You can say, oh, very dear you. Dina brita gela. The day, suggesting not just one day, but days. Brita gelo. It went. Gelo is past tense of to go. And brita means waste, a wasted time. I have gone, my days have gone to waste. Akona, again, now, ki have gati. Habe is future tense, I guess third person. Ki habe, ki is the question word. What will be? Ki habe goti. Goti is also a Sanskrit word. Can mean aim, it can mean path or direction, and it can also mean goal. And here it's translated as fate. What will become of me? So it's a sad song, but you can say, saying I've wasted my life. What's going to become of me? And it's a kind of confession. But there's of course, built into the whole song, there is great hope. The fact that he is addressing the song to the Lord, and he's addressing the Lord in a familiar form, tomāre and tore, suggesting he understands, he has a close relationship with the Lord. And so he understands the situation is not hopeless. He is waking up and he is confessing. He's saying, I am such a fool because I have wasted my life. So this is the beginning of Dainya, of humility. So it's very nice. Bhuliya tomāre samsare āsiyā, peye nānā-vidha tomāre āsiyāchi bolibo kathā. It's autobiographical confession. Famous, perhaps the famous autobiography of the Western world is the Confessions of St. Augustine. It's become famous for many reasons. One reason is that it became sort of, you can say, the establishing the whole idea of doing an autobiography. Why would you write about yourself? Well, that Augustine gave his reason why he's doing this. Of course, he wants to help others to elevate themselves spiritually as he did. He's confessing about his very materialistic life before he converted to Christianity. Okay. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura ki jai. Hare Krishna. Can I ask you, Sugopi Tungavidya, do you know what that word kathā means? Kathā?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, Hare Krishna Maharaj, I was just thinking that I would tell you, kathā is the pain, like Kandiya with, I'm crying with pain. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Dukho kathā, mane, like I'm sad and I'm in pain. So it is basically emotional pain.
Ami khub kathā, like that. Okay. Ami.
I hope not so, Maharaj. I hope you're not in pain.
No, I'm just trying to get to how you would say it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So I think we have presentation, short presentation.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, we have total five devotees. Sharing. Yes, yes.
Oh, in the last minute.
Yes, yes.
In the last minute they show up. Okay.
So first we have a Saumya-karini Mataji, then we have a Hemangi Gopi Mataji. After her is Dhira Lalita Mataji, then Mangala Chandrika Mataji, and then Anupama Mataji for the end.
Okay, good.
Okay, Saumya-karini Mataji, can you come forward, please?
Come forward.
Hare Krishna. I would like my humble obeisances
Hare Krishna.
to tell a little bit more about field notes. Let's say last time it was a preview, and now I will tell a little bit more, if you allow me. And I want to read it now. I just wrote it down, and it will be easier for me to do it this way. So as I began last week, I asked Guru Maharaj if he had one, a news brief, and he kindly allowed to take care of it, to revive it, to start it over again. And I remember it was in lockdown, staying in the kitchen, cleaning the pots, thinking about the best day to start with the new field notes. I even thought about consulting an astrologer. Then next moment, the remembrance of the soon coming Kshatriya treaty came to my mind, and it was absolutely clear that it was the day. There was, however, not much time left, and our good sisters Mandali and Vaishnavi helped me with the first two articles. Later, other devotees joined. Mangala Chandrika and Shravana Ramanya delivered materials for the field notes too. Prasudati Hari Prabhu provided us with a couple of digital copies of Guru Maharaj's books, as we use not only lectures. Varshabhanavi took also care of the subscription link for the website of Guru Maharaj, and she stores all articles in the archive there. And we have Gokulanandana Hari Prabhu, who kindly translates every issue into Spanish for the devotees who does not speak English. And we are still looking for the translators into Polish. So if you like to meditate on Guru Maharaj's teaching in this way, then just contact us. The process of producing of the field notes works like follows. We listen to the recordings of the lectures of Guru Maharaj, and we read his books and choose stories, parts that appear to be relevant for what Guru Maharaj is doing about now and what happens now in the world, and in some way correlates with the work of Guru Maharaj. We choose parts that strike us most, inspire, bring deep realizations, and then we make articles from it. The chosen articles we send first to Guru Maharaj for his approval and first editing, and after that the articles go to Ananta Sarovara in Mayapur, who is our final editor. And it was an interesting story how she joined us. We needed an editor, and Guru Maharaj even mentioned Ananta Sarovara's name in the very beginning, but he was not sure if she would have time, and as she's always loaded with work. And by Krishna's arrangement, how we Vaishnavas call it, better to say by my clumsiness, there was a mistake in one of the articles in the second issue of the field notes, and this mistake was immediately spotted and reported by our dear Ananta Sarovara, who immediately kindly offered to edit every issue before publishing. So you can imagine how happy we were about it. After the last editing by Ananta Sarovara, we check Guru Maharaj's travel plans, as he wants to share this always for 2 months ahead. And then I share it also with Nandi Mukti Mataji, who kindly fills the itinerary on the website of Guru Maharaj. So you can see it's a network of people who are doing it all together. And we have every month a nice opportunity to talk each other and to greet each other and to do something together. And then we publish the issue. At the moment, the making of field notes is a quite spontaneous process. Actually, there is no fast structure. We even don't always mention all big festivities that are normally highlighted in the most other Vaishnavas newsletters. At some point, I thought it was a problem, but Guru Maharaj reassured me it wasn't. He said there is a lot of publications available dedicated to particular issues on particular occasions, and it is not necessary to publish more articles on the same topic if we have other interesting things to share. There is something unorthodox in Guru Maharaj's ways, what I believe most of us like so much. I have already told you about how after my visit to Vrindavana last Kartik, when also the disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada was observed, I wanted to post something about Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaja. And then dear Lalita Mata, I didn't know her personally yet at that time, shared in the WhatsApp group of Ramananda Gopal Prabhuji some pages of Guru Maharaj's diaries. And it was just that, just what I needed. All I had to do then is to ask Guru Maharaj for his approval of that choice and publish. By the way, last week, dear Lalita Mata came again with a couple of brilliant ideas for the next issue. So thank you very much. Sometimes time goes faster than we can keep up. For example, when the articles for the last April issue were ready, it occurred that these were not suitable anymore because the situation in the world changed drastically due to the corona crisis. At that point, a couple of prophetic extracts from the Care book of Guru Maharaja fitted much better, and we used them. And so this meditation goes on, listening, reading, feeling what is relevant for now, and expresses nicely the current mood and plans of Guru Maharaja, and making articles that hopefully inspire and nourish devotees. Hereby, I kindly invite you to join us in this process.
Thank you. I hope you feel better now because you were kind of satisfied with your first presentation.
Yes, yes. Thank you for another opportunity, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. Yeah, we call it field notes because, Kshetra means field, so it's notes from the field. Anthropologists, when they go to some remote place in the jungles of Africa to study the pygmies or whatever, they're observing and so on, and then they're writing their notes, and those notes are called field notes. Yeah, I guess a lot of different sorts of scientists have field notes. So these are our field notes. Okay, Hare Krishna. Oh, yes.
Guru Maharaj, can I add a little bit more? I always ask everybody to share field notes and invite others to subscribe. For example, I have also a couple of Russian friends who also read field notes, and even one friend who is not devotee, is just an intellectual who studies Sanskrit, and he appreciates it also very much, the field notes of Guru Maharaj. So God sisters and God brothers, just share it and invite everybody and let everybody have the mercy of Guru Maharaj.
Okay. All right. So All right, so who is our next show and tell person?
Hemangi Gopi Mataji is the next presenter. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, my obeisances to you, Maharaj, and to all devotees. I literally have this show and tell, but I need to share screen also. I have a very small video, very short, maybe 1 minute to share. But before I share, I would like to introduce.
Okay.
So can you allow me, please, to share my screen? Mm-hmm. So
Yes, Mataji, you can share, yes.
Just a second, share screen. Okay, I will first tell something about this video. I got this video, I don't know, is it successful? Okay, do you see anything from my side?
We see you.
Only me.
You have to choose which one of your programs should give some choice, and then you have to select.
So, okay, what do you see now?
Still only seeing you.
Okay, so, oh yes, I need to, okay, I realized what I didn't do, share. So probably now you see something.
Yes.
Now we see something, yes.
Oh, thank you so much. So I got this video from one devotee from Italy, from Bologna. She told me during this period of coronavirus and quarantine that all outside world was like shut down and there was no noise. So that in her suburb where she lives, there is one forest very, very near. And that the animals came to the suburbs from the forest. And then one deer also, because it was very quiet and peaceful, he just came to the suburb and he just got lost in the suburb. So this is video which shows what happened to him, to this deer. So now I will show, and then I will tell why I just choose this and on what this reminds me actually. Okay. But actually, this video actually telling us what happened to someone when that someone comes to the place when they originally don't belong. So here is the very, very short video. Watch carefully. Here is the deer who is stuck. So this deer, he was very terrified when he realized where he actually came, that there is no forest and nothing what was very known to him, and he was very afraid and terrified, and he tried to escape, but he stuck in between this fence, and he was just moving back and forward, but nothing really happened. He couldn't escape. So firemen came and helped him. Then they brought him back to the forest, and like they hoped that he found his family again. So I was just thinking how we are also like this deer. When we came to this material world, we are really so lost and we are just stuck and trying to do something and just going back and forward. But until we surrender to our spiritual masters and the Guru Parampara, we really suffer. So this actually video reminds me a little bit on this song from the beginning, how there is suffering, but there is hope in the end. And this video, I don't know, vividly portrayal our position in this material world and how we actually really need to take shelter in order to get rid of this suffering. So just that.
Thank you, that's nice. And so for us, taking the analogy, the fireman who comes to save the deer, I guess is Guru, isn't it?
Yes, yes, yes.
Nice. Samsaradava nānā-vidha loka. Okay. Nice. Thank you. Hare Krishna. I've seen actually a few people now and then are sending videos of animals that are wandering into the towns. There was there was one video of a whole group of deer who wandered right into a shop, and they were looking around the shop to see what's interesting. And yeah, in India, I think there was one of them. I guess from South India, some elephant, a wild elephant was just kind of wandering through the village. Yeah, interesting things.
The one point is that actually this deer, because it was everything quiet, there was no traffic, all this external sound, he was thinking that it's all, you know, the space, all is the forest, he can go everywhere, because this no sound, it confused him. So then he was like lost, and he came to the place where he doesn't belong.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, now we have a Lalita Mataji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, and
Right.
Hare Krishna to everybody. Could I say something first before I show? Is that okay?
As you like.
Well, I'm continuing with reading my Srimad Bhagavatam. But before that, I just want to say how I'm trying to be grateful. I mean, develop my gratitude towards what's happening every Saturday. Did we ever had this like meetings with Guru Maharaj so often that we could listen to his classes, listen to the analysis of Bhaktivinoda Thakura, and then every Saturday we get a chance to speak with Guru Maharaj and to see all of us together. It's just, I think it's just wonderful. Apart from coronavirus.
Thank you. Yeah.
I just want to say thank you, Guru Maharaj, for being there for us and inspire us to read and to say something about our realizations in Krishna consciousness. Well, I continue with reading Srimad Bhagavatam, and I read on second canto, 4th chapter, verse 1, where Srila Prabhupada mentions gardening for Krishna, gardening our bhakti lata beach within our heart, and looking after the spiritual part of gardening. And I was thinking, what do I do in order to nourish that little seed that was mercifully given to me by Krishna and by Guru Maharaj and devotional service. So the list that I have is chanting the holy name, worshipping the deities, listening to classes with my husband, Srila Prabhupada's classes, and then on my own I listen to Guru Maharaj's classes and classes of devotees. And then Guru Maharaj told me, gave suggestion 10 years ago that maybe I should pursue gardening a little bit more. There is a little garden around here. It's only 150 square meters, not big. And 5 years ago, that suggestion of Guru Maharaj started developing, and sort of somehow connect that meditation on Krishna, apart from internal meditation, to external as well. And it's a really, if I may say, if I'm allowed to say, it's enjoyable to grow things, grow plants that's offerable to Krishna. So to grow flowers that are fragrant, different types of flowers that can be offered to my deities on daily basis. Also, and then through the season as well. So I was thinking through the season that Krishna can be glorified as well. That's also mentioned in Shastra. So that connection with internal and external sort of very exciting. And I just want to say I'm very grateful that Guru Maharaj gave this suggestion / instruction, and it's just beautiful, and I'm grateful for that. So that's what I wanted to say. Really, just want to say that there is no end in glorifying Guru Maharaj's suggestions to us, or glorify his presence in our life. So I'd like to show you the garden now. That was my presentation for today. But I hope it will work. But if you wouldn't mind just shouting out and saying that if I should put camera down more or up, so you can see the garden.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go outside. I'm going to turn this around now. I'm in a little shed in the garden. I'm going outside.
I was thinking you're upstairs, but you're in the shed.
So I will start from the left. So can you see flowers here?
A little bit down.
Like that?
Yes, now we can see roses. Yes, we can see the roses.
Right.
It looks like a rose, yeah.
Yes, that's a rose. It's called Emma Hamilton. It's very fragrant. It's a variety of David Austin, very famous here in England. So there's foxglove, salvia, aquilegia. And this is our chimney where we burn pine cones and branches. And then we have composting bins. We make our own compost. This little area here is, can you see it, Guru Maharaj?
Yeah, right now we're seeing a tree trunk and some flowers on the left.
Some wild, this is wild, a little wild area for insects and for bees. Yeah. And then going around, this is also a little bit wildish area. It's very good for insects, and it keeps like a garden eco-friendly and very well balanced. This here is lavender. It's going to flower soon. Yeah. And over here are vegetables. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
Carrots and beans, tomatoes, rhubarb. There's lots of potatoes here. If you can see it. Then again, I'm taking this camera now to a little hill that we call it Govardhan Hill.
Oh.
That's here, but I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
A little Govardhan Hill with flowers and some herbs. Here there are more roses and jasmine. It's very fragrant right now. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
And some more plants and vegetables that I'm going to plant later on, so that we will have it in the winter time. So sort of only 150 square meters of the garden is sort of 25% self-sufficient throughout the year. Not not 100%. So
Yeah.
coming back to the shed now. I hope you saw some of that garden.
We did. That was very nice. I'm a little surprised to see how much is growing, knowing London weather, and how much is blooming. So it's very nice. Maybe I should make experiment whether I can do a little tour here. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it would work. I could show a little around here, but not now. Good. Gardening and home gardening. Just yesterday evening, I watched an interview of Tarun Krishna Prabhu from central London, giving a little presentation on what he's promoting amongst the congregation of Soho Temple, is getting everyone to grow something at home, no matter how little, even if it's just inside the rooms of the flat, to get some pots and grow something. Because now with this pandemic, everyone is kind of realizing that food security is an issue. You know, we've always talked about it. We always talk about self-sufficiency. So he has a WhatsApp group, and you might like to join it, where they're inspiring each other, giving ideas, and so on. So that sort of thing, I think, will sort of by necessity, I think we're gonna see more of this home farming, home gardening. It's a good thing.
I'd like to add something, if that's okay. That I was just thinking yesterday, there's a little tip. For example, even if somebody doesn't have a garden, if you have just even a room, it is possible to do some little research what plant can survive on, I don't know, northeast or southeast facing window. And I even had tulsi plants, our tulsi, that for 8 years, that I didn't need any extra light or anything, because the front window was positioned in a way that tulsi can really grow big. So it's just a little research. It's sort of a lot of fun as well. And when that plant is offered to Krishna, especially if it's flower, I had an idea, but I actually don't have time for that. But if somebody has small children, which are not allergic to flowers, then they can make a herbarium of offered flowers and press them and write a date when that flower was offered to Krishna, and then also write a name of a flower. You know, and I was thinking that could be a good fun for children who are locked down, who are inside the house, you know, these children. It's a little tip for parents.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. I hope I didn't take too much time.
It's okay. All right. So we just visited London. Now, where are we going to next? Who are we visiting next?
Now visiting Radhadesh, Mataji Mangala Chandrika and Mataji Anupama. They're the same.
Hi, thank you so much. Greetings from Radhadesh, live this time. All of us are here gathered. This is the time when we really look forward to spend some time together every Saturday. So thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for getting us together and inspiring us. And I feel very encouraged myself. I have to say that the video that we saw from the village where you stay about the cow dung bathing was really inspiring for the devotees here. So Gora Hari and Lineke, they already decided they will do the same project. They will try it out. So it was very inspiring. And yeah, our children now, they don't have school, so they spend a lot of time with cows, more than us actually. So they have a lot of contact with cows, and this is a beautiful part of village life. Something that you said resonated with me. You said that we cannot go out, but we can go within. So I gave myself a little challenge. You know, I said I don't have much to share. I'm working. I juggle between family, children, and my work and sadhana. But I said, okay, maybe there's something. So with this lockdown in Radhadesh, we don't have so many visiting devotees coming. So what's happening is that more of us get the opportunity to give Bhagavatam classes. So it's a big challenge, of course, but we took it, and I was reflecting while preparing for the classes, why am I doing this? Because, you know, there's a lot of work out otherwise, and why would I take another task? So I made a whole list of reasons why I should do that, and why it's fulfilling and why it's inspiring. I will not read it now because I just want to say something shortly, and I want to pass my word on to Anupama and Dinadayal Prabhus. First thing that came up for me was that it really helps when trying to share Krishna Katha with others. It really helps one become humble, especially reading Bhagavatam, because we realize how small we are, because we can never really grasp the whole Bhagavatam meaning fully. So it humbles us, which is a good start. And of course, it makes us take more responsibility, because we have to start reflecting and reading more, and so on. One point that really stood out for me, especially in this time, is because we definitely all hanker for connection, for deeper connection, and not just mediocre exchanges, but really to go deeper and share what we realize in Krishna consciousness. So I felt deeply that this is a very good way if we write down our realizations or speak about them with others, and we find different means, either sending audio messages or giving short, I don't know, discussions and so on, or in a way like this, that we share with others what we've realized, and that actually instills more realizations in us. And also we need to clarify more for ourselves what is relevant for us in our spiritual practice, and so on. And maybe, just maybe in this way, we encourage others to do the same. So then we can get some deeper satisfaction from exchanges with the Vaishnavas. So that's what I wanted to say. And I will pass my word on to Anupama here.
Hare Krishna. So actually, I should let Dinadayal speak, because the topic is something in relation with Guru Maharaj gave presentation about yoga of leadership. I just want to share screen. It's on the Dharago Prabhu, if you can have a possibility to share screen. Just if you can help me, please.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not this. It's the website. Just the website.
Okay.
Just the website. So yes, Guru Maharaj spoke about yoga of leadership. I wanted to show to all of you that we do here run a school, an online school. We offer degree, business degree in business education, with strong emphasis on conscious leadership. So basically it's a work in progress. So we are attempting to to further even more the conscious leadership element, although we have to be careful not to get too much alternative, because we have students who are coming from different backgrounds, like Muslims and atheists and people who are not at all interested in any kind of spirituality. But with our expert teachers, we are trying to feed them little by little with the elements of conscious leadership. with basically value-based leadership. So this project is quite old in terms that already 2009, some of the members of Bhaktivinoda College got an idea to develop a degree. And it took actually many years. So we ran the course. Dinadal, can you help? Last 3 years.
Last 3 years.
Yeah, last 3 years. So this is just to show you that there is an alternative to mainstream business education, and it's offered by devotees. For me, although I don't have any background or education in business, and I was kind of pushed in this direction, I'm involved in adding and developing these value-based elements. But kind of inspiration for myself I find in the pastime of Maharaj Parikshit and the age of Kali. And I find it interesting because the chapter is entitled Reward and Punishment and Reward of Kali. And it reminds me, like this famous book from Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment. And here we have punishment and rewards. Actually, Kali was rewarded with gold and all these nice things. So our present day, we may say, the embodiment of Kali, like big business people, the point that we want to show is that the reward, the wealth they can get can easily turn into punishment because it can further nurture their own, greed and self-centeredness and desire to exploit and manipulate. And therefore we, with our curriculum and emphasis of conscious leadership, we are trying to offer an alternative to such an approach to business and business education. So we wish all to ask for blessings for Guru Maharaj and from all of you to be successful with our pioneering project.
And with lots of gold.
And they added and lots of gold.
What was that at the end?
Dinadal added not just blessing, but to be blessed with lots of gold in terms of lots of students, paying students.
How many students are there right now?
30.
Can you? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, there are around 30 students.
Oh, 30.
Yeah.
So it's growing.
It is growing. Maybe a little bit slowed down based on Corona factor. Otherwise, it would be, now we are going up.
Oh, okay. That's good. I would think the pandemic condition might increase number of students. I don't know, because it's online. I'm just thinking aloud. You might probably have already been thinking, but it seems like now with this pandemic, everyone is kind of saying this is the new normal in the sense that online education may really, really become central. That's one point. And the other is you might do a brainstorm about having a module that kind of focuses specifically on this new situation. There's a lot being written about it. I can look for it. I got a link to a website of anthropology in which there's a whole list of academic scholarly articles, sort of the anthropology of the present situation, the pandemic. But that's just one sort of thing. But if you can show that you are, being responsive to the present situation, I think that would be very valuable. I'm sure you've already thought of that.
Yeah, actually, last week when we had our regular call with Petar Turčinović from Croatia, who is helping us, he has PhD from Harvard University and he's being involved in many business schools. So he suggested something similar. It's something called like change management. And so definitely also resources that you could send us that would help us, because we wanted to enrich our degree by creating a new module. And his points were same as yours. So Guru Maharaj, you're completely in tune with the needs of the business education.
I don't know. Anyway, good. So let it expand, and let Bhaktivedanta College expand. Do we have some Bhakti Shastri Plus students?
Yeah, we have online. We have currently it's Bhagavad Gita 3, and we have around 40 students.
Oh.
And the on-site we will reschedule it because it was supposed to start in September, but now we pushed it to November because we had to push our summer courses. Therefore, it's like domino effect. So we're hoping to get some youth again.
Maybe you can turn off the share screen so we can see you again.
And yeah, and we have. Come, Guru Maharaj wants to see.
We have.
Come.
Where's Ramani, by the way?
She's here, and
Everyone is here, Maharaj. Not only Ramani, but
can you see us?
we have some babies here.
Oh no! They can't. Okay, it's good. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
You cannot move. Yeah.
In, out. There you are. Okay.
Coward boys and girls.
Yeah, you're the coward guys, huh?
Yeah.
How are the cows?
Me, my Howard the cows.
They're good? Okay.
Okay, so greetings from Radhadesh. The basis is
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Krishna.
Guru Maharaj, we have also Mahananda Vladini Mataji who wants to share quickly. If possible.
Okay. Before that, I wanted to say something to kind of response to Mangala Chandrika that all of you might consider as a subject for giving a little 2 or 4 or 5 minute show and tell, which maybe would be more of a tell, is that you related to this project of writing based on second canto. You could say something just briefly from your reading. Specifically, I'm suggesting something from second canto, canto 2. Some particular passage that particularly resonates with you and why it resonates with you. So that could be a nice way we could share. Yeah, starting next week. Okay. All right. So now. Next.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to you and all glories to devotee online. I would like to, I make some notes about, I start to read the second canto, and I would like to read some little notes till now, which I wrote.
Oh, you're already ahead of us. Good. All right.
And there is a lot of branches on the tree, so there are also different spiritual school and person. The tree gives protection, gives warmth and fruit, Srimad Bhagavatam is like a tree. It gives me understanding, realized knowledge, example persons who understood difference between two worlds, material and spiritual. But it said that without questions and answers of the knowledge, cannot be appear, knowledge cannot be appear and receive without dialogue and mercy from spiritual master, and without a sincere listening, exchange, like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, that without mercy, acceptance, and sincere listening his words and instruction, person cannot be worthy of his company. And that all reminds me to read more, to continue to read second canto. And like you said, Guru Maharaj, the dialogue is very important. And I will try to make some dialogue on some canto, some words from second canto. I will try to make some dialogue from my understanding on some reading, and that's what I want to share.
Very nice, thank you. Yeah, a tree. It's, of course, we have from first canto, Nigama Kalpataro Galitsankala, that the Bhagavatam is compared to the fruit of the tree of Vedic knowledge. But yeah, it's interesting to think about the Bhagavatam itself as a tree with so many branches. And we may say many different perspectives on the absolute truth, Param Satyam. So that's nice. Okay.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you. We go to the village now, and thank you for your time.
You're in Niche, right? You're in
yes,
Niche?
Yes, we are in Niche. Yes.
Niche Yatra Ki Jai.
Jai. And my daughter also, Sugita, want to say Haribola.
Sugita.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so, well, today we ended up having lots of sharing, and it has taken most of the time, which is fine. So I'm just going to be quite brief with my presentation. I'm going to be continuing with the seminar Dialogical Vaishnavism. And okay, and you may remember, yeah. So then, oh, maybe I can put it full screen. Yeah, okay. Wow. And let's see if the internet will keep connected, but so far we're doing great. So we're talking about dialogue, and we are, in the last time we talked about definitions of dialogue. We gave some kind of fancy definitions that we could go over again, but the time is short. We looked briefly at the question of what do we have in the way of dialogue within our tradition. And I gave this example from Srila Prabhupada saying in the conversation with a priest, now our appeal is to everyone, every religious sect, that people are becoming godless, generally at the present moment. So we should make combined effort to revive their God consciousness. So that's an interesting idea. And then what I want to do is ask a few questions, raise some questions. In general, one may ask, what is the need for dialogue? For some of us, it may be obvious that there is so much need, and for some of us, maybe it's not obvious. Internet connection, shaky. So these are a few aspects of the question of need. On what level of need, and here I'm speaking of Abraham Maslow, but Bhaktivinoda Thakura also spoke about different kinds of needs: social needs, personal need, psychological, social, and of course spiritual. I won't go into that. And then, is there a special need in the current time? I would say yes. And where am I? We may look at our particular geographical location. We may look at our own city or town and see what opportunity is there. And then a question of dialogue, both for Vaishnavas and with Vaishnavas. Can there be dialogue among Vaishnavas within our own institution? Can there be dialogue across Vaishnava institutions? And so on. And then it may be helpful also in thinking about dialogue to ask these last two questions. In whose interest is the dialogue, and to what end? For what is the ultimate goal of such dialogue? We may come up with different answers for these. I'm just raising the question right now. And apologies, I'm a little bit jumping around here, but there's been a lot of discussion in recent decades about the fact that there is so much religious diversity. Remember, I showed this pie graph with various percentages of membership or identification with different major religious traditions and also other traditions. If you broke it down more, you would find countless different groups. We could just take Vaishnavism and we could find so many different groups. Take Gaudiya Vaishnavism and you'll find so many different. And one may say that, well, all these different groups have really some competition. They are making competing truth claims. Now, this is a huge subject, but this is just a brief, very brief orientation. So different religions make different metaphysical claims. Bhaktivinoda Thakur spoke about this, but he felt there's this kind of superficiality to those differences. In any case, recognizing that there are these competing truths, what kinds of responses are possible? If we say, okay, I am a Vaishnava or aspiring, I'm trying to be a Vaishnava. I identify with a particular tradition and also particular institution, possibly. Then what kind of possible responses are there to the fact that there are so many people who would say, Vaishnava, what is that? I'm not a Vaishnava. I'm this, I am Christian. And of course, Prabhupada would say, all of these designations are superficial. But okay, superficial, but people take them seriously. So starting from where people are, how can we respond? So these are three sort of general categories. This comes from mainly, this comes from mainly Christian reflection, modern Christian, exclusivism, inclusivism, and pluralism. We can either decide that we are the only ones with the truth and everyone else got it wrong, or we can decide that we got everything right, but it's possible that others can benefit from their traditions one way or another. And then finally, there is pluralism, which is recognizing all different traditions, all different groups as being in some way or other valid religion. And their metaphysical and moral claims, truth claims, are not necessarily competing. And then there's different types of pluralism. You can read about these sorts of things on the internet nowadays. Wikipedia actually is quite good for these sorts of things. Just search, I don't know, religious diversity, probably you'll get something. Okay, now moving on. So there's two things. There's a sense of sameness and there's a sense of difference. And I want to spend some time in this very abstract place. So I hope you'll be patient with me. We can ask something else. And what makes something different. And when I give a presentation, a seminar on this, we have a discussion. And I talk about, sometimes about comparing apples and oranges, and what does that mean? What are we doing when we're comparing? And there's this interesting question of how does it feel to be different? This is a question related to our social consciousness, our awareness of ourselves in relation to others. A feeling of difference can be, it can be very disturbing. It can make us feel very insecure, but it can also, it can feel very good. I'm different. I'm not like all these people doing whatever they do, whatever, foolish things people of the world are doing. Well, again, back to tradition for a moment. If we think about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his meeting with the Chand Kazi, I rather like this painting. I think this was by Mother Jadurani, Shamarani. Lord Chaitanya and the Kazi are looking quite peaceful. They're looking like they're speaking in dialogue. They're actually looking at each other. They're speaking and listening to each other. And of course, we know the story. There's going to be a happy ending. What started as a quite troubled confrontation ends with an agreement, a very specific agreement, which is honored to the present day. When the Kazi says, I will no longer make any obstacle. I will no longer make trouble for your Sankirtan. And I will order that all of my descendants shall also not disturb you. But my point here is about they came to a very specific agreement, and that's an interesting possibility in the course of dialogue. Now, for a little bit of comic relief. So we have on the left, we have God with a big beard, as he's typically imagined in Abrahamic traditions. And he's on the phone, and he's calling, and he says, hello, hello, this is God. Who's this? And the person he's connected to is Ernie Miller. And he says, Ernie Miller on the right says, this is Ernie Miller, sir. And then the next one, where is one? And then God again, he said, Ernie, who? Is this 555-1728? And then Ernie responds, no, sir, this is 555-1782. And Ernie experiences from God, God saying to Ernie, sorry, click, and that's the last he hears from God. And the commentator says, and for the rest of his life, Ernie told his friends that he had talked with God. So we sometimes hear people say they have talked with God, and this little cartoon is making a bit of humor on that, to ask the question, so what was your conversation? What was your communication with God? So this is possibly the most minimal sort of accidental conversation. God had no interest to speak with Ernie Miller. It was a mistake. But for Ernie, this becomes very significant. Oh, I spoke with God. Well, okay, interesting. How do we connect? How do people connect? How do people understand themselves to be connecting with ultimate reality or with God? Again, something that I do in seminar, live seminar, is discussion. Here I'm encouraging participants to share something, what they have of experience in what is usually called interfaith dialogue. But we can ask ourselves these questions. What sort of religion landscape do you encounter in your country and your areas where you live? My guess is in Croatia, for example, people are, for the most part, identifying themselves, if they see themselves as religious, they are identifying themselves as Roman Catholic, with all sorts of implications to that. It would be interesting to look at statistics, which are surely available for your area wherever you live, to see this sort of designations of people on a smaller scale rather than the world scale. How many people identify themselves? What percentage in Croatia, for example, are members of the Roman Catholic Church? What percentage are in other religious traditions, and so on? And then we can ask ourselves what sort of dialogue experiences we may have had. some of you maybe have had some experience of formal dialogue experience, and that's very nice. Possibly more of you have had informal dialogue experience where you're meeting someone, maybe it's just your family members, and you're having some discussion about religion. And of course, to what extent was your dialogue a dialogue is also a question to ask. And how you have felt from such experience, whether you found it to be a positive experience or a not so positive experience. Maybe it was so terrible that you never want it to happen again. In which case, I think my first question would be, was there actually dialogue, or was it something else? And then we can also, at the bottom, we can ask ourselves, what sorts of obstacles, and also what sorts of opportunities do you see for engaging in dialogue with others? And I'm keeping these as very open-ended questions. Dialogue with others can start within your own family. One of the exercises we've done in the seminar group is just this, to ask devotees to get into smaller groups and discuss and make lists of what they find to be the obstacles to dialogue in the wider world. And it was interesting to see practically all of them were saying the first problem is to be able to have dialogue within our society, our community of devotees. This is the first challenge. So then I present the possible purva paksha, the positions which argue that no, dialogue is not what we're interested in as members of the Hare Krishna movement or members of ISKCON and so on. First, we might want to say no to dialogue because we may want to say our business is preaching and not so-called sharing with others in the sense of both speaking and listening. Because dialogue means that it's going in two directions at least, if not more. If you have two persons, you're speaking and you're also listening. No, we're not interested in listening because everyone is in Maya. They have nothing interesting to say. There's no value. So we don't want to listen to that. So that could be one objection. The same argument might be expanded to say we should rather be prepared for debate. And of course, last time we talked a little about this. It is part of our tradition. Srila Prabhupada liked debate. He would debate with, he would have mock debates with devotees. And he liked that very much. And our business, one may say, is to establish truth over falsehood. And this is what debate is for. So we don't waste our time with dialogue. And as part of the challenge, our business is preaching, not sharing, because it's means listening to others. What's wrong with listening to others? Someone may say, well, listening to others to means non-Vaishnavas or maybe even non-ISKCON members. That would lead surely to relativizing or watering our philosophy. And could lead to confusion. It could even get worse than that. Someone might end up being converted to someone else's way of life, tradition, practice, who knows? Yes, that is possible. And sort of part of all of this is this last challenge: isn't interfaith dialogue a waste of time since no one changes their position? If you go to a formal interfaith dialogue event, everyone is, speaking nicely, saying something from their tradition. It's usually, it's all in a very polite sort of mood. But what's the use of that? Nobody's really, it's not really changing anyone. So not really, thank you, but no thank you. So one general point I would also say is dialogue is not for everyone. It's not that what I'm suggesting in this seminar is that now all of our preachers should drop everything and become special experts in dialogue, although it might be a good idea, but I'm not trying to pressure anybody or make anyone feel bad or guilty or whatever if they're not into it. Okay, that's all right. But I want to suggest this is, it can be a very valuable modality of communication, if not a central mode of communication. Now, to underline the position of non-dialogue, Srila Prabhupada had one room conversation, and it was quite a discussion in which I'm just putting this one point. He says, if my destination is London, why there is searching? There is no use of searching. The wider discussion was that we are all seekers. We are all seeking the absolute truth. So in this way, we are all equal. And Srila Prabhupada objected to that. He was insisting on his position as guru, as satguru, as acharya, that I am teaching you something. I'm not just gonna, have a friendly dialogue because I have better things to do, but I have something to teach. And so he gave this example that, why waste my time? If I've been to London, I know what is London. I know how to get there. I can describe it to you. So there's no need of searching. I know my destination is London. I'm going to London. So in a similar way, Prabhupada would say, I know my destination is Goloka Vrindavan. I know where it is. That's where I'm going. So that's also there. That Prabhupada would also express this, this kind of mood. But he would also say, in other contexts, he would say, you cannot imitate me. He said, I am an elderly person, so people understand, oh, we should listen to this elderly sadhu. And so he said, you are younger, you cannot just imitate like that. Well, we're practically out of time, and I did see one question from Pandava, and I wanted to respond to that. Let's see if I get my thing here. Where is my, oh, there it is. Stop share. And here we are again. Hare Krishna. Okay, how do I get myself? Anyway, oh, there's a few things here. So I just wanted to, respond to Pandava. This goes back to Bhaktivinoda Thakura's song. Does Bhaktivinoda Thakur paraphrase teachings of Lord Kapila in this song, or refer to personal experience, especially in shloka number 2? Yeah, that's a good question. It sounds like he's paraphrasing Kapila Dev in Bhagavatam, chapter whatever it is, 26 or somewhere around there, describing the whole situation of the conditioned soul starting from being in the womb and suffering in the womb. I mean, what can I say? We can speculate. Of course, we have to assume Bhaktivinoda Thakur was familiar with that description. And we can either say, well, he is remembering that and he is sort of extrapolating what may have been the case in his own experience. We may want to say Bhaktivinoda Thakur as an exalted acharya, exalted soul. Who are we to say that he does not remember being in the womb of his mother and having darshan of the Lord for a moment and making this resolve and then forgetting and then remembering. So we cannot really say, but what we can say is that he is certainly echoing this teaching from Kapila Dev, teaching to his mother Devahuti. And so I said, if we want to find out, we may end up experiencing ourselves. We don't want to experience ourselves the same again. Let us assume instead that we will go back home, back to Godhead in this life, as Srila Prabhupada would so many times say. Oh, Rasadani Hari is telling us 85% of people in Croatia are Roman Catholic. Okay, that's a quite high number. Then it would be interesting to see how many of those are sort of token Roman Catholics. How many of those people go to church, you know, more than Easter and Christmas, and so on. And then over time is another thing to ask. Oh, we're getting quick answers. 30%, 30% of what? 30% do what? 30% go to church every week.
Are practicing Roman Catholics, those who are practicing.
Okay, whatever practicing means. Yeah. Yeah, so there's going to be different grades of any tradition. And I might add a way of thinking about different religious traditions is in terms of our categories of karma, jnana, yoga, and bhakti. So you can, you can imagine a kind of chart with vertical columns and horizontal rows. And on the horizontal rows, you could put on the left side karma, jnana, yoga, and bhakti. And then on the vertical columns, you could put in different religious traditions. And then you can fill in the boxes with what is the prominent feature within that tradition of, let's say, karma within the Roman Catholic Church, jnana within the Jewish tradition, and so on. Of course, all of these, again, you can break down further. And then you can ask, so where is the emphasis for a particular person that you meet within that tradition? What is their concern? What are they especially, what is their particular orientation in terms of karma, jnana, yoga, and bhakti? And this can become a very easy way then to open up discussion, especially, I would say, in the Christian traditions, but also the other Abrahamic traditions, to locate, to identify the elements of bhakti, of devotion within their tradition, and then highlight that. And that gets into a whole nother discussion we'll get into possibly next week, which is what I call interfaith literacy. Getting to know something about the tradition of the person that you are speaking with. You learn from that person, you may also learn from other sources. And if you show genuine interest in that tradition, you can really open up discussion with people. Hare Krishna. Okay. Yeah, time flies when you're having a good time. I'm gonna close off now because lunch is waiting for me. And right after lunch, I'm getting opportunity to get a car ride to the guest house, which is 1 kilometer from here. And there I will stay for some hours to do some writing in a room with air conditioning. Air conditioning. So, yeah, it's a little change of atmosphere for some hours. So I will say thank you all so much. All best wishes for you this week. All best wishes for your sadhana, for your Sanga with others, and everyone keep well, keep safe, and keep happy, and chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Gaur Prema Nande Hari Hari.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Looking forward already to see you next Saturday, Satsanga.
What about other presentations now that are Chandrika?
Z utęsknieniem na kolejne spotkanie.
Yeah, devotees, you can unmute yourself.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Wyłączyć swoje mikrofony.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Nandamukhi, where are you?